back. Well, Australia's relationship with Israel is at an all-time low. This week, Anthony Albanese claimed Israel's failures on humanitarian aid to Gaza were, quote, completely untenable and without credibility. Well, the reality is it's Hamas blocking Gazans from reaching aid, as it has from the beginning, as it has using Palestinians as human shields. Now calls are mounting for the PM to agree to Israeli President Isaac Herzog's request that he visit Israel. Senior Jewish leader Mark Leibler said he would see for himself the complexity of the situation there and understand the pressures that Israel is being subjected to in terms of defending themselves. Joining me now is Liberal MP and Shadow Cabinet Secretary Andrew Wallace. Andrew, thank you for joining me. Should the Prime Minister accept the invite to Israel?
Well, greetings, Danica, from the Mullaney Show on the Sunshine Coast. And the answer to your question is absolutely he should. But he should go one step further. Unlike his Foreign Minister Penny Wong, he has to visit the sites of the atrocities. Penny Wong didn't have the intestinal fortitude to do that when she visited, albeit very late in the piece. But the Prime Minister should absolutely visit Israel. He should absolutely see the atrocities that took place or the aftermath thereof and get a first-hand view of what went on October 7th. I did that only a couple of months after October 7th with a small group of parliamentarians, and the Prime Minister will only get a better understanding of the pressures and the daily attacks that are happening in Israel, still to this day, by rocket attacks from within Gaza, and in the north of Israel as well. So he should absolutely do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the focus is always on Israel. It's never on Hamas. It's never on the enemy. It's never on the group that actually started this war on October 7, 2023. I just think that the conduct of Labor has just been appalling from the very beginning. Now, I want to ask you about defence, because a report has been very scathing of Labor's failure to shore up our military capabilities. The Australian Strategic Policy Institute says Labor's business-as-usual defence budget will leave Australia with a paper ADF that is ill-prepared for near-term conflict. Andrew, look, Labor's really left us very exposed. We've had China recently conducting live-fire exercises off our coast without warning, and of course Labor had no idea. We've wasted billions on equipment that doesn't work. Defence spending is languishing. What do you make of this report?
Well, the ASPI report is absolutely spot on the money, Danica, absolutely spot on. You know, this Prime Minister and Richard Marles, the Defence Minister, are the first people to say that we live in the most geostrategically dangerous time since 1945, and yet they've cut $80 billion from defence. We're 5,000 personnel under what the Defence Department say we should be. And we've got things like Anzac-class ships sitting on hard stands in Adelaide because we can't crew them. This government continues to talk the big talk about the importance of defence, and yet it cuts funding from defence. The reality is, if you talk to any defence industry contractors in Australia, the vast bulk of them will tell you that they are dying the deaths of 1,000 cuts because this government has cut funding from defence. They've cut funding from defence industry, and we are hopelessly prepared for any sort of conflict that might be around the corner.
Well, have a look at what the Prime Minister said about it.
Well, that's what they do, isn't it, ASPI? I mean, seriously, they need to, I think, have a look at themselves as well and the way that they conduct themselves in debates. We've had a defence strategic review. We've got considerable additional investment going into defence.
Andrew, he basically shrugged his shoulders and said, no, nothing to see here.
Well, I mean, the Prime Minister has got an absolute glass jaw. Peter Jennings talked about this today. Rather than acknowledge that we've got a problem and what we do to fix it, he slangs off at ASPI. Now, ASPI is the same organisation where it was the subject of one of the 14 demands of the China's Communist Party, in that they wanted ASPI totally defunded. And lo and behold, ASPI is now under a new set of rules under this Labor government that they've got to fight for their funding every 5 years. They've got to have effectively a government public servant on their council. The Labor Party do not like scrutiny. They certainly don't like scrutiny of their defence policies. And the reality is they are being totally incongruent. They're talking the big talk about the importance of security and the risks that we're now facing, but they are not prepared to spend the money.
No.
We're looking at a 2.33% of GDP within the next 8 or 9 years, according to this government. And the reality is that's just not going to cut the mustard.
No, it absolutely will not cut the mustard. Andrew Wallace, good to catch up. Enjoy the show this evening. Thank you so much for joining me on the program.